Hello world, I'm What If Studia, and today we are doing What If Cosplay was Isakai. So, we will continue off where we had left off last time. If you haven't seen it, I would recommend going to the first episode. We continue with Deku reaching out in his new squid form. Octopus/human form. However, then he hears this rumble before he puts his hand through the portal. As the whole place starts to shake up, and then all that comes out is a clear and crisp voice that reminds him of home. His mother. Son, there are people attacking my home. I need you to try to force them away. They're attacking me. They're burning me up, son. As he says, where? He turns around and picks up one of the rocks that was very sharp that he had used to defeat the Sharktopus. He starts making his way down to where she had told him, as he starts to realize the different facets that he had gotten. His ink is now a little bit poisonous, and he is able to use mind control in very small amounts. If he overpowers people with his own thoughts over theirs, as long as he can connect his tentacles into their ears, and and he basically wraps it around their brain. Deku also gains strength, a lot of strength. Like his tentacles could break rock by crushing it with all their power. Also, his teeth are as sharp as sharks that he had gotten as a trait from defeating the sharks. Also, rough skin, also from the sharks. However, that doesn't stop him from being shot in the side of his shoulder by an arrow. He lets it scathe past his chest by curling around and letting it wing him in the shoulder. Realizing that when he looks up and sees that all the humans are level 30, way above his pay grade, he starts crawling up the ceiling, all the way up into the trees, trying to hide in there. However, he realizes that he's much bigger than he used to be, smashing the whole entire tree by itself and just falling straight back to the ground. However, bringing the tree down on the men, distracting them temporarily. The ranger, however, continues firing shots, and the volley most hit him. However, one hits him in one of his tentacles. As he turns around the corner, he's snuck up on by one of the attackers, and one of his tentacles are sacrificed to try to save him from the sword attack. These humans, what are they doing? I'm one of them. What are they doing? As he just continues to run, he's being chased down by these humans. These are adventurers that are known, that are from his mother lets him in on what's happening, is that these are adventurers from the known island of Iceland. Iceland is, it's spelled differently, all right? I just came up with Iceland when I was younger before I even knew what Iceland was. I swear, please believe me. Island, it was called Island, all right? Island, full of freaking bustling with life, however, had its water drained. They seek all the life that the mother tree gives them by stealing the soul gem. So they're after the same thing as him. However, she says sorry for bothering him too much with this. After all, they're going to kill him if he fights them. She tells him to escape through the portal that he had once came from, and he's like, that was the plan. He just books it straight to that, using his ink, and blinds all of his enemies to make it in. However, a blind toss from a lucky and blind toss from one of their spearmen hits him in the spine, sending him out onto the beach. As he rolls out into the ocean. All of the men, once they recover, get onto the beach. This thick beach, everything in here is very stuffy. The storm that rolls in, it makes the water very murky. There was dead bodies everywhere from mermaid people, all different types of stuff. signs of war. Different bodies and animal carcasses. The men look confused onto the beach as they start to search the place for Deku, scouring it. However, each of them were picked off one by one. As all the rest look around, hearing the screams of their fellow hunters, but then they're just picked off all the same. As mermaids were dragging them into the water and drowning them under it. Deku could barely even hear their muffled screams as he's taken down to the farthest depths. He closes his eyes and then wakes back up in this temple, this green majesty born from the stomach of his mother. This old and ancient castle, it had everything was ornamental. Every single part of it was made for the life of what he would be living. He was underwater and yet he felt like he was breathing normally, even better than before. He like jolts up. However, the king, this huge man, this like 11-foot tall, like bearded dude who looks like a millennia old with a trident right next to him that looks just as old, and his crown, which is crusty and also made out of a coral. He rests him down, saying, "Whoa, boy, come on now." His voice seemed like it boomed just a few years ago, like it snapped, just recently. He says, hold your horses. We're in the middle of a war, after all. You can't just go running around like that. You're lucky we saved you and found you. Oh, those goddamn humans. They always wanted our scales. Or just wanted us for XP or whatever the hell they wanted. Deku says, a war? I shouldn't bore you with the details. Anyways, come. Let me show you around. You're a new visitor in our realm. A hero, from what I've heard. Come. As Deku follows him throughout the temple that's bustling with people. Each part of it is filled with different animals and, sharks with riders atop of them. However, a lot of them are wounded, injured. As all of the wounded are being treated by jellyfish with healing properties and mermaids that also have healing songs. He talks with the warriors about the different tactics that are used by the enemy, including how the enemy was able to tell what they were doing at every single moment. Like they had like a spy, and that's what's been concerning the king this whole time. He gets some information that his older brother had about the tale of the two brothers. Basically, the king and his older brother had fought over the crown. His older brother challenged his younger brother to a fight to the death. After all, his older brother saw that nothing mattered in this world except power. His younger brother, he accepted his challenge, and when his older brother had lost the challenge, he basically he kind of like was exiled, but he kind of forced himself out as he started to gather armies in the shadows, and is now coming back and basically coming back just to haunt them. And then, the Poseidon interrupts, saying, No, that's too gruesome of a story to tell such a child. He says, Why would it be? It's your story after all, King. No, I just came here to give you all your daily rations. A king should always be talking with his subjects after all. You seem like a great king. That's why I need a good prince. Actually, I heard that you were sent from the mother tree. Deku realizes this and thinks in his mind, talking to the mother tree, as he asks her what this is about. She says that yes, Poseidon was actually her husband, and went down there to try to control all of the chaos. However, this is what happened. This is the husband's son, basically. And there's something called a legendary quest that he has just gained. He's like, he wasn't listening. However, at the end, after all, he was thinking about like what's gonna happen. He was like, wait, what is that? As then all he hears is
Quest Legendary.
He looks back up to see a screen appear. A legendary quest called the King's Son. The reward would be a trident, and his objective, the trident of Poseidon. And his goal is basically to defend the people of Poseidon, the people that live inside the city. He thinks hard about this. However, the thing for failure is lose all fame, which he gained 500 just for getting the first legendary quest ever in existence, and also fame that he had gotten from that he would get from accepting the quest and then completing it. All in conclusion gives him almost 2,000. He doesn't know what fame even does. However, he knows that it's gotta not be bad, right? Plus a skill called War Hero, which basically just like inspires people around you, which seems really cool. And the title of Prince of the War of the Underwater Kingdom. So Deku thinks hard about this, however, then just thinks, I have to think about this first. He says that he accepts the quest to the king. However, he doesn't really accept it. However, the king is so happy and joyous about this event, and tells him that he must come to the conference. However, that's atop a spiral staircase. And then on top of it, basically, is like a lunch table. He says that he will, as he starts going up the staircase, talking with all of the different war heroes of the past of the underwater kingdom. He looks up to the sun, seeing a hot blaze next to it, like if you were to see the heat radiating off of the pillar in front of it. However, no other pillar had that heat coming off of it. It was something wavy and blurred the vision from the sun to himself. Deku smiles and laughs to himself, saying, so that's how they did it. He says, we're going to be weak during the night. We will prepare for a battle. We'll prepare for a battle in 2 days and strike them at night. Until then, if they were to attack, if they attack us during the night, we will, our defenses will crumble, and we will die. God help us all, basically. Until then, I will tell you what to do. This meeting is adjourned. They're like, that was quick. Okay. As then he starts telling them of all of his information from modern day. And 2 days go by really fast after he starts commanding all of the troops, collecting them all under his one banner, under the trident, after all. His father actually tells him that he has some interesting news about the kraken, because the trident is able to summon the kraken. The kraken is able to take out hundreds of troops. However, the enemies have 5,000 compared to their, compared to their 2,000. It's insane odds. Deku's like, don't worry, I have a plan. So the night comes before 2 days are up. Deku huddled behind a position with two barnacles that huddle around his eyes and allow him to see farther. He just stands there and says, I see them. As he sees on the ridge of the canyon, one siren starts to seep down into the canyon, followed by hundreds and then thousands. Hold. Then finally their hero comes out from the ridge. Hold. The hero, the villain, really. Riding on his megalodon, hovers over the ruins and the columns that all surrounded them as their cover away from aerial attacks that they thought was so smart overnight. Now, all of the sirens suddenly get speared from down below. Trench warfare, motherfuckers! As then all of the spears just get launched into them from underneath. This surprise attack that he had purposely planned, because he had noticed the surveillance drone that was making that heat spot that nobody else could sense since their IQ was too low. Deku was able to sense it and also map out that was actually the breathing of an animal. Camouflage animal, an actual cuttlefish, I think they call them, a cuttlefish that was able to basically cloak itself on top of one of the pillars and listen into the conversations. So he had used that to just get the jump on them. They instantly kill hundreds upon almost 1,000 of the sirens in one of their shoves from their trenches, as all of the sirens start to regroup into one main thing right into the middle. Deku says, "Charge! Send out the tanks!" As then all these, what were they? Oh, alligators with trident riders on the back that had chariots hooked up to the back of them, and glaive wielding tridents that would just that would just course through the enemy troops, taking out hundreds again, just by the sheer strategy. Deku's starting to love this. This is going swimmingly. Oh god, they'll be so happy I'll be the hero. Oh, this is going wonderfully. Can I just say, it's going just perfectly. They're like, yeah, we get it, but sir, they're starting their counterattack, as he says. Don't worry, shields forward! As then these plasma shields start to arise from the ground, and they also have crustaceans, humanoid crustaceans that bash down onto the ground, upheaving ground as it covers them from the sides, stopping them from being surrounded and flanked. This battle continues for an hour as then reinforcements come from the enemy. The enemy by this time is whittled down to 3,000. However, their reinforcements now rank almost 1,000 of the mishmash of what would you call them? Mangled beasts of the underworld, tamed by the under the sea warden himself, the older brother of Poseidon. Let's just call him Ares. Ares basically releases his powers upon the enemy, breaking through the shield wall with his megalodon that he rides on the back of, eating about 100 of people just in one bite. Deku immediately sees this as a huge problem and seeks after the megalodon himself. He says, "Hold the line while I run. Hopefully the old man won't be too late." He jumps onto the head of the megalodon and knocks off the sea warden, Ares. As the sea warden is knocked off and thrown to the side, his tentacles spread throughout the megalodon, controlling its fins and then knocking it into the enemy, killing hundreds of the enemy. As then he spreads his ink onto its eyes, blinding it, slightly poisoning it, corrupting its mind, as then he starts to use simple mind control, which courses into it as his tentacles start to converge into its mouth and into its brain as he starts to control it and converts the megalodon to his side. The battle starts to look worse for them. However, megalodon gains a massive morale boost for their side. So this whittles their enemies down to 2,000. By this point, they're down to 1,000 people. However, their advantage in their trenches is massive. After all, their use of spears and also upheaving the ground was an insane tactic, one that would only be thought of a madman / Deku. However, he doesn't see his father, but they're starting to lose, right? As all of the reinforcements start to circle around the shield bearers and start to kill everybody, kill most people. They're losing hundreds by the second. until he hears "doo, doo, doo, doo," and then over the hills comes the mighty kraken. Its tentacles wrapping around the colanders, the columns that all fall down onto the enemies, crushing hundreds by the second under it, defeating the main force of the enemy. However, he doesn't see his father anywhere in sight. So then we go back a little bit, like a few minutes before, back to when his father had sent the kraken off to the battle, around the time that he had spotted Ares trying to run away from the battle, and had taken down his shark with one throw of the spear of the trident. As his brother says, that trident should be mine, brother. You always were weak. Don't you think it should be in the rightful hands? Shit like that. He's just talking shit all the time. He's just saying, but his whole shtick is that the strongest should survive. And to be honest, Poseidon kind of agrees. However, Poseidon this time isn't winning. After all, Ares had plotted out his death since the beginning. Get him into a 1v1, and then Ares just basically punches down on Poseidon's face so hard there's like an indent into his face, where like it knocks out some of his teeth. But Poseidon stabs him in the stomach with his trident. However, this shakes all of the coral reef around them that they were battling in and throwing each other into. That the coral reef is very delicate, and this was part of Poseidon's plan, since his IQ was read out to be 130. And it all starts to collapse onto Ares. However, Ares had punched Poseidon so hard with so much power, it had knocked Poseidon out. And Ares just jumps up, dodging all the combustion of the canyon of coral, and just leaves Poseidon dead in there. Deku finally gets over to this, as he had used super speed of his tentacles to get over, and then sees his father just collapsed by the canyon. Well, his new father, at least. He never really felt that much emotions after he had gotten into the dungeon. He didn't even feel that much by being betrayed by the humans, but this brought out some emotion as he jumps down and then instantly uppercutted by Ares up in the water, sent out of the water, and then Ares jumps up and then tries to spike him down into the ocean. However, Deku barely gets the grips of himself and grabs onto the punch, wrapping his tentacles around him and locking him in place. However, failing to outstrength him, is thrown around and rubbed into the ground and thrown up against the wall. Deku's on his last legs by this point. After all, he's not actually that strong. And then he sees his father's trident behind Ares, sticking out of the coral reef. You know, Deku doesn't own the trident, but he can feel something in his blood coursing. Ares looks down upon Deku and says, "Is there anything you would like to say? For your last words, of course." "My father's blood. I may not be him. I may not be his son, truly. But I am the spiritual successor of the Mother Tree and all of humanity." Weird. Well, whatever. Say goodbye, hero. Classic villain lines. As then Deku holds out his hand for the punch that comes straight for his face that had killed his spiritual father. Doesn't make it to his face before a trident is shoved straight through the head of Ares, the tip pointing out, almost touching the nose of Deku. Ares falls down, lifeless, floating there, with his eyes filled with hatred still. Deku catches his breath and recovers his health, His health was draining. He didn't even have time to look down to it. He was instantly almost killed there. And his rewards. Oh boy. His fucking rewards. Alright, I think I'm gonna end it here. I'm gonna catch you guys in the next one. Goodbye.